want to actually kick it off. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's still in the chat because I think he has an early flight tomorrow. So he basically he just wanted to give his kind of 2 cents in here. And I think this is very important. So this is coming from Jason Hill, who actually attended the event. He got an early flight tomorrow, so I'll be asleep before the live. But got to say my thoughts on day 2. Dropped $550 on this ticket. Day 1 was fire, which I could actually agree. There was a lot going on day 1, and we had a lot to talk about, especially. I mean, that's why we ended up with a 3.5-hour live yesterday. But day 2 feels like Disney straight up robbed me. What did we even get today? I don't need announcements. Just fly in a celeb or something worth the cash. And he continued, leaving with a bad taste and honestly not sure I'm hitting another destination D23. Now, here's the thing with that. And honestly, I can concur with Jason. I can understand his pain and frustration, especially if you're traveling cross country, because I was planning on doing this event. I was planning on taking Abby, and everything would have been twice as much. We would have had to spend twice as much on the flight. We would have had to spend twice as much on the tickets. And I have to say, I wasn't even there present. But the amount of news that came out today, I thought if yesterday was going to be a banger, today was going to be like the sign, seal, deliver. This was going to be like closing the event with a bang. And it just plateaued. It just was not up to par, especially because they dedicated a whole entire panel, 45 minutes, to the villains, and it wasn't being live streamed. And all that really was discussed was the fact we were doing research trips right now in Italy and France and Europe, and we're trying to figure out like the architectural style that we want for the land. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. But don't let that be the only thing that is mentioned. And I'm actually going to share my screen. This was courtesy of Drew, the Disney dude. So yeah, this is what it says. New Disney teases Art Nouveau architecture and the deep jewel tones of Disney villains will combine for Villains Land. Imagineers received an intimate look at the architectural aesthetics that will serve as the overall design aspiration for the land. And they show like the villains, and then they kind of give you like this like style that they're going to be going for. But we kind of already knew that, like, just even based off of the one piece of concept art. I mean, there really wasn't anything. I don't know. There really wasn't anything that I would say that kind of surprised me with that. But what say you, Conductor? What's your thoughts on it?
So here's the thing that kind of bums me out. And again, Jason Hill, shout out to him for being boots on the ground. Obviously, Drew Smith, he was there as well. And to drop that type of money, think about this, $550 to sit there and sit in a room or go on the show floor, however they do it out there, and get that type of news. Like George said, why couldn't that not be live stream? There was no like exclusive trailer. There was no, showing behind the scenes, like at one of their offsite locations where they have like a mock-up of what the land could look like, or, maybe some of the animatronics, or
even the official name of the land, or tell us something about the attractions. I mean, give us something like, I don't know.
So basically what Drew Smith is showing on the screen right now on X, and shout out to him, is basically one of the former animators that worked on some of these Disney villains from way back in the day. But I don't feel like something like that, and you could clearly see it was only a minute 16 out of 45 minutes. I didn't feel like that needed to be hidden from D23 members that wanted to live stream it from home.
Well, and especially too, because this news again was already mentioned weeks ago. Andreas
Yes.
Deja was already on board to be as a consultant. So like, why was that even mentioned again?
See that's what I mean. You know, again, I can understand if they didn't want to live stream it. They were showing like what we all saw at D23 last year, where we saw a actual model of what Avatar looks like. We actually saw a ride vehicle for the Avengers new e-ticket that's currently being built at DCA in Anaheim. You know, I can understand something like that. But to sit there and get news like this, or, you know, hear that they're, you know, Walt Disney Imagineering's going on road trips to, like you said, to Barcelona, Spain, Italy, and all these European countries to get, you know, ideas on how to build the land and how to tie it into the villains. I don't feel like that needed to be hidden. Now, I mentioned it last night on our part one of the Destination D23 coverage. And one of the things I said was, first of all, Destination D23 is not, I don't know if it was ever an event that people would go running and go run to, you know what I mean? Like, not like D23 out here in Anaheim, where it's like, you know, it's kind of like a war trying to get tickets. I never felt that Destination was like that. Maybe it was early on, but the fact that it's only 2 days, the second day was lackluster. Everything pretty much got announced that was exciting the first day. I honestly do think going forward, they need to add a third day, and the projects they announced at the former D23 in Anaheim, they need to show progress on those projects at destination. And
I
if
thought for sure that's what it was going to be. I thought like we were going to get not really new news. That's
Yeah,
why I was actually surprised when
sure,
they said that the Walt animatronic was going into the Carousel of Progress, and they
yeah,
were updating that. And then we're getting the original. Well, I'm not going to mention that yet because we'll get into that. There's
yeah,
also something else that is
sure,
going back to its original format. Um, that was new news.
yeah,
But I thought for sure, like with all the projects that are going on, even if they didn't mention Disneyland's, you know, even if
sure.
they didn't mention Avengers, if they didn't mention Coco, if they didn't mention Pandora, at least I thought we would get some updates on Piston Peak, again, villains, because obviously they had their presentation. Monsters Inc., Tropical Americas, like give us something like maybe like what is the name of the attraction for Encanto? What is the official name for the Indiana Jones ride? Like what give us maybe like a restaurant that's going in these places. Like give us something because if they're already think of it this way, they already have as what Demaro calls their turbocharging. They got boots on the ground, dirt is moving, earth is moving. Here's the thing. If Earth is moving right now,
Yeah,
they have to know what they're building.
yeah,
So why couldn't they share that? Now, again, I get it that Disney could be waiting to save a lot for next year's D23.
sure,
That's fine. But if you're going to have an event like this that is coming out prior and you're going to move it to a bigger venue, you're going to sell more tickets, you're going to have more people, you're going to up the charge more, you have to give us something.
agreed.
And they dropped the ball. They did perfect yesterday.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect. Like I don't know what the hell happened with day two.
Okay, so I do have to give Disney a little bit of credit though, and this is not at the Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom. This is actually at one of their international parks. We did get clarification at Disneyland Paris when the Frozen Land, the World of Arendelle, is going to be opening at least at some type of time frame. I think it was spring
I actually
2024, or
I have that here. Let me see. It was on the timeline.
yeah, I think it was. There we go.
Yeah.
Spring 2026.
Yeah. But now here's the thing. And to Disney's credit, as you said, kudos to them. But in a way, unless you have plans to go out to Paris,
Yeah,
it's like for everyone in the domestic parks, that doesn't mean anything to us. And here's the thing, and I have actually had a conversation with some people in our group chats.
Sure.
It's what I don't understand is this now solidifies that every Disney resort, I believe, thus far. I'm not sure of Shanghai. Shanghai might. I'm not. Yeah, no, I don't know if Shanghai, but majority of them all have a World of Frozen, except for the domestic parks. Nothing for Disneyland, nothing for Walt Disney World. Now, again, that may change in time, especially with Disneyland Forward and that what have you. But it's like, why is it that our domestic parks are always at the back burner to all these high creative ideas in international parks?
See, that's an interesting point, because I kind of always felt that Disneyland, between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, that Disneyland was always last. Now I'm starting to see both sides, where Walt Disney World and Disneyland. But my whole thing is too, and you and OG really explained it in detail to me when I hung out with you guys the last time. And you basically said that Walt Disney World gets a little bit more love because it's a tourist destination. What if they're trying to clarify these international parks as tourist destinations? That's why they're getting the love. But I 100% agree with you. I think if they really honestly wanted to, and this is, again, this is one of my crazy ideas, but if they still want to keep Destination D23 a thing, I think personally, any announcements with international parks need to stay with Destination D23. Nothing gets said at D23 out here in Anaheim. The only things that get announced is the domestic park information, cruise lines, and maybe something to do with different locations that the cruise lines go to. But any international parks, like theme parks, should stay Destination D23.
Now, here's something. I mean, I can understand that definitely, and I feel like they have to do something, because I feel like moving forward, and even with what Jason said, that just put a completely sour taste in his mouth for this event, that he may not even do it the next time around. And I feel like he may not be the only one. No. I'm for sure there's a lot of people walking out of there that traveled and is very disappointed with what was presented to them. And I say this honestly, if you want to mention news at the international parks at D23, the Ultimate Fan Event,
sure,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it, Disney. You give us all the news you want for international parks, but to even remotely have me care, I hope you're buying me a plane ticket to fly over to experience it. Because it's like, other than that, it doesn't really mean a thing to me, unless I'm actually planning on going, which eventually I do want to see all the Disney international parks eventually. But is it going to be something that I can do on a regular basis like the domestic parks? No. So it's like I have to pick and choose the timing perfectly, because say I go out say I go to Disneyland Paris when World of Frozen is completed.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I go out there for my first time, had a great time, and I fly back. Then Disney makes an announcement that they're after Frozen, after The Lion King at Paris. Oh, we're bringing Moana to Disneyland Paris. I mean, I don't know why, but I mean, like, it doesn't fit the culture. But just to say, for the kicks, we're bringing Moana. We're going to have this big e-ticket attraction. And it's like, oh, well, I just spent how much money to go to Paris. And now, like, when is it going to be the next time that I can experience it with Moana? It's like, it's a tease. You know, it's like, and honestly, the international parks honestly get the bigger part of the bone, so to speak, compared to the domestic parks, in my opinion, anyways.
Well, see, it's interesting you say that, because again, you and OG kind of broke it down to me. I feel like why the international parks as well get so much more love than our domestic parks is because Disney in a way kind of acts like, and I don't even know if I'm using the terminology right, but as far as I see it, they kind of act like real estate agents. I know that sounds bizarre, but they're basically renting out the Disney name, Disney characters, Disney IP, and these private companies, like Disneyland Paris. I think it's what, Shanghai Disney or Tokyo Disney, one of those Asian parks or two of those Asian parks. They're run by the Oriental Land Company.
Oh, Tokyo Disney's run by OLC.
Okay, so Tokyo Disney. So those two parks that are Disney themed, Disney named, have the Disney characters, have the Disney IP. Disney themselves aren't fronting the bill. If anything, they're getting money for that. And anytime those two international parks want to bring a new attraction to life, like let's say the World of Frozen, or the new Lion King attraction, or even the new Tomorrowland, Space Mountain, all that, they pay Disney to build or do the research, build whatever they need to build out here in the States, do the research, and they're getting paid for it. And then they send all the information back to those international parks, and the international parks pay for all the construction, all the crews that need to be hired to not only just operate the attraction, but build the entire land, build the attraction, do all the maintenance, all that stuff. And meanwhile, the Disney company benefits because now they know how to build it cheaper. They have the technology now. They didn't have to pay for it. And they got paid by these international companies. So they're getting the best of both worlds. So I kind of feel that's why at least two of those international parks, Paris and Tokyo, are getting so much love. Because
Yeah.
it's the future
Because
I'm here.
Disney's not forking out the bill.
Yeah.
OLC is signing the checks, and they're like, no price tag is, that there's no price tag. Like however how much the R&D costs, however much this is to build this and make that. They're basically giving the Imagineers an open playground, if you will. And I feel like when it comes to the domestic parks, that's where Disney drops the ball on themselves, because it's like you're being a little bit cheap. And I get it. I'm not saying put yourself in debt or where you have to file bankruptcy, to build an attraction, but spend a little. If you spend a little bit extra, you'll get back in revenue. You'll make it back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something they need to work on a lot better. Because like I said, if let's just say hypothetically for Disneyland, if we weren't going to get nothing, and I mean nothing, besides the Avengers e-ticket, so nothing past 2030 besides that Avengers e-ticket and the Stark Flight Labs, and they weren't even going to start Disneyland Forward until after 2030. It's kind of sad to me that we have, again, and I refer it all the time, Tomorrowland, one of the most decrepit, abandoned lands, but yet it's so busy because you got three attractions, two of them that shouldn't even be in that land because they don't even make sense anymore. But three attractions out of probably, I don't know, almost what, 6 or 7 of them that were once alive in that land at one point or another. That it's fallen apart. Then we got this Magic Band thing. Obviously we copied Walt Disney World on that, which it's great and all, but it has very limited infrastructure to it. You can basically scan into the park and that's about it, and you do the little interactive zones throughout the park. That's about it. I would like to see, if you're staying on Disney property, you can tap into your hotel room. You can go into one of the Disney shops and you can go pay for, merchandise, or you can go pay for a Disney treat, or you can at least allow that. And then with this newest news, and I'm going to dive into that in a second, but the newest news saying that January the 4th is going to be the last day. So January the 4th, 2026 is going to be the last day that hotel guests are going to be allowed to do early entry into the parks, which is quite sad because now people are like, why am I going to pay three quarters more to stay on Disneyland property when I could stay right outside the gates for three-quarters of the way less and have more money to get merchandise, have a nice time at, downtown Disney, or go get some food, or maybe even go visit other parks like Knott's Berry Farm, which is not too far from there, or maybe go travel to Los Angeles and go to Universal. Why would after that day, why would anybody pay that amount of money to stay on property for that if they're getting rid of one of the best perks they've ever had? And again, I know I'm quoting Bricky because he did another video today, and I want to get into that as well. But I have to ask that question. I have to.
Well, and it's funny, yeah. And when you look at, I was looking at prices for like the Disneyland hotel, and I was just curious to see like what the generalized price would be for like a 5 night, because that's a typical kind of thing. Like if you're staying on Disney property, you do like a 4 or 5 night or what have you.
Sure.
It just to stay, not counting any tickets, just staying at the Disneyland hotel for 5 nights, $3,100. Now, for $3,100, I could do, and that's for just 5 days, just staying at a hotel. For
Sure.
$3,100, that could be a 7 night Caribbean cruise on a Disney cruise ship.
I know.
For $3,100, that could be a week in Walt Disney World as a whole entire package.
I know.
And
That's
it's
what I mean.
when you say $3,100 for just the hotel, no tickets, no perks, no nothing. But then with the perks, they're losing one, and it's like, okay, well, we'll give you a lightning lane. Okay, that's great, but how about you add on a lightning lane with the early entry?
So this is very interesting, and I just want to quote Kiki and Luca in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
One of his comments were, but apparently it wasn't a big perk for most people. And you're absolutely right about that, Kiki and Luca, because in Bricky's video, he said most people staying at the hotel didn't even know it had a private entrance in to get in the DCA. So that was a waste of infrastructure and construction to build that. And now they're getting rid of that. And then you also quoted and you said, those people who stay at the Grand Cali, they're rich. They are rich because it's freaking ridiculous. Like George said, for $3,100, look at all the options he just named off. And that's just on the top of his head of what you can do with $3,100. And it's literally insane. It's insane to me that people will stay that long, at a park. Look at me and George. Me, George, and his wife Abby are going to Walt Disney World, or at least Orlando, and going to do Walt Disney World and Universal, and we're not even paying $3,100. So imagine that, and we're going for how many days, George? 10.
So it's going to be, let's see, all together, it's going to be, I think, 12 days.
Okay, so imagine this: 2 weeks, not even $3,100, or you can sit there and pay $3,100 to stay at the Grand Californian just to say you did it. And now you're probably going to spend, if you have a family of 4, you're probably going to spend another $1,500 on food, merch, expenses, So you're already in the hole about $4,100, maybe even more than that. So you have to ask yourself when, and I love this quote from George and OG. When do you decide as a Disney fan when do you decide to vote with your wallet and say enough is enough? Because companies, I know we're talking about Disney, but this goes with any company. The more, the more people pay those ridiculous prices, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it, because I have the Inspire key and I think 1800 is ridiculous, but I do it for content. Um, when does it come a time where you have to literally tell your kids, hey, you know what? We just can't do a Disney trip this year. I'm sorry. And that's parents telling their kids living in that state where a Disney park is, whether it's in California or Orlando, because it's just getting way out of control. And it's only going to get worse with these expansions. It's only going to get worse as they expand the cruise lines, and it's only going to get worse when they build more hotels. And I'm sorry to say it that way, because I don't like saying it that way, but it's the truth.
And speaking of like fixing stuff with like expanding, especially with the Disneyland resort, they need to figure out the security system.
Oh,
it's already bad. I mean, the fact that when we were going into the park and we were going into the Grand Californian side, actually from going into DCA from the Grand Californian, they had one line open and it took us like 20 minutes to get through there. And I'm thinking, so isn't that a perk? What if someone was spending $900 a night to stay at the Grand Californian? Shouldn't they be like in like Flint, like, for the amount that they're spending? I don't know. Like, I think with the security, especially again, when they're going to expand with Disneyland Forward and move to the Simba parking lot, and Avengers opens and Pandora opens and Coco opens, they have to adapt big time. With some of the like updated security things that like how Universal uses, and honestly even Knott's uses, because they're kind of falling at the wayside with that. They're like doing like the 1990s, and they need to update some things for sure.
Well, since you quoted Universal, I don't mean to go off topic. The only dinosaur park right now that has that 1990s security is Hollywood right now. But they are currently updating that with their 3 security hubs they are currently constructing, and will hopefully have the updated security and updated entry points, kind of like what Disney has. So, but right now, like George says, because with all the lines they have at underneath the Mickey and Friends parking structure, I cannot tell you. And I was telling Tommy Toon World, because I was hanging out with them, because obviously your birthday weekend, and we were waiting to go through security, and I kid you the frick not, every single line that they had, and they probably had maybe 12 lines. Okay. No, I would say maybe more like 15 lines. 15 lines. Every single line had probably, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 people, maybe even more per line that had strollers. I told Tommy, I said, why is it, if they have that many lines open, why can they not just dedicate 2 or 3 lines for people that have strollers? That way they all go in one section. Another section has people for backpacks. Another section has just people walking in. Why can't they not do that system? It would be so efficient, and it's not hard to do. You don't have to change infrastructure. You don't have to change anything. All you have to do is tell people where to go and where to line up at. It's that simple.
Oh, absolutely. And just my luck, I would be stuck behind someone in line that has 2 strollers, 5 backpacks, a freaking water jug, a keychain that has like how many different things on it. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be standing here forever.
Yeah.
But I want to bring this up too. And again, chat, I do apologize. We are going to get to your comments and everything. We just like to kind of start it off, and then we'll catch up with you guys. But before we do move on, I am going to catch up with the chat, but Kiki and Lucas says it's funny that Disneyland doesn't have Frozen or The Lion King. It's funny, Kiki and Luca. I was actually mentioning this in our group chat earlier. It's Tokyo has Beauty and the Beast. Paris is getting The Lion King. Soon to be, I'm assuming Abu Dhabi is going to get Aladdin. And again, all the international parks have Frozen except for the domestics. I don't understand why it's so hard for the domestic parks to get any of the Renaissance era IPs. I don't know why. It's strange, and it's like, well, actually, I take that back. We do have a Renaissance IP down in Magic Kingdom. We have the freaking magic carpets of Aladdin that's just like planted right in the dead center of Adventureland.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's a winner.
Yeah. Well, see, it's a great point you make, George, because again, like I said earlier, these international parks, especially Paris and Tokyo, they have companies that are paying for all the construction, all the maintenance, and all that, and they're paying Disney to build mock-ups and do the research. So I don't understand exactly what you just said. I don't understand why the domestic parks are being left out. It's sad. It really is sad, quite frankly.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it all goes by the money. Now, also, Kiki and Luca said, I don't think Destination D23 was ever intended to be a big event. It was never intended to have the same style, scope, or information as D23 in Anaheim. And I absolutely 100% agree. And I feel like that's where it gets lost in translation, with people surmising that Destination D23, it was never supposed to be the same scope of the D23 fan event. But when they brought the one Destination D 2 years ago, and they dropped some hints with the Encanto and Indiana Jones, people are like, oh, they're starting to make announcements for the park stuff now. And it's like, okay, well, now they're moving forward where we're going to get park news at both the Ultimate Fan Event and Destination D23. And honestly, that's just not the case, because really, Destination D23 is not made for that.
No.
It really isn't.
No.
And that's why it looks so lackluster, and because people have like this thing in their mind that we're going to get like big time news, and we're just not. And Mr. Tech Bear and the Haas, they really had nothing to say, but knew that the people wanted to hear something. This land is still in the blue sky phase, and he's referring to villains.
See, again, and when George talks about the misleading aspect, I think one of the biggest things they can change going forward is change the name of the event. Because when you add D23 to that, and it's not even close to what the Ultimate Fan Event is in Anaheim, that's misleading right there. And then it just trickles down from there. So changing the name of the event would be a great start.
And I love Johnny Ace's comment here. Everything that was said in day 2 could have been an email, which is actually very true. And a lot of the stuff they didn't live stream. They could have very well live streamed the villains. There was nothing that wasn't mentioned that we already didn't know, that they made it seem like it was going to be this big thing that, like, okay, it's only going to be for the ticket holders. Well, it's like, no, you really didn't mention anything, so you could have just shared it with all of us.
Exactly.
Now, I do want to show Case what's on the screen right now. This also came out today. This was a little bit of a news closer to the end of the event. So this is, again, from Drew the Disney Dude. Breaking: Cinderella Castle will be repainted to its original colors at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. And I'm so glad that they're going back to the originality of the castle. I'm so glad they're getting rid of the Pepto-Bismol pink and the very like dark blue. I didn't really mind the dark blue, to be honest with you, but I don't know, just something about that classic like sky blue that
Yeah.
just fits so well with the grays and the whites and everything. So I'm glad it's going back to its original form.
And I 100% agree. We have that Pepto Bismol type color at our Disneyland out here in Anaheim, and I like that they're going back to this. But I did tell George right before the live stream, one thing I definitely would love to see. You know, some people did a comparison photo on X, and I didn't really see it that much on Instagram. I saw it more on X, where they showed what the castle looked like before and then what it looks like currently as of today before they're going to revert back. And one of the things I pointed out was it looked like what gold was on there on the spires, on the trim, was very faded. So I really hope they keep that very bright and just stand out-ish. And George was mentioning about the kind of like the roofing on some of the spires, the blue. Personally, he likes the light blue. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that dark blue with the gold. Even I think that pops. But again, it depends what type of shade of blue they use, because obviously, you don't want it to fade out too soon. So again, the only thing I would say, like I said, was the gold aspects of it. However much they keep, I really hope they keep that very vibrant and bright so it stands out.
I
So
wonder if that's why they are going more lighter, because with the Florida sun, they
yeah,
have to keep up with the constant like touching up of the paint, the darker the color. So I wonder, by having it lighter, it takes a while for it to like really show, for them to have to like repaint it.
possibly. One thing I want to add to this as well, because this is part of that Castle Spires presentation, which I don't think that was live stream, was it?
That one was. They
Okay.
did live stream that. Yes.
Okay. So you would know better than I do. And I usually kind of look for Drew Smith's post. I did not see anything about the Abu Dhabi park and what that castle would even remotely look like.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because actually this is the perfect thing. So I thought for sure they were going to mention the Abu Dhabi in that castle section, but now they did make an announcement that we call it Imagineering Episode 5, titled Building Castles, releases on September 8th on Walt Disney Imagineering's YouTube channel. So I'm wondering if that episode is going to give us more detail on the Abu Dhabi castle, and maybe even possibly some of the other castles. But here's the thing. If someone is paying a big premium price ticket, why would you then make the announcement on September 8th? Why couldn't they just announce it today? Like, then why have the presentation?
Exactly my point. And this kind of reverts, and I'm going to go off the rails a little bit, but this kind of reverts back to D23 when they were showing concept art of Piston Peak, right? They didn't say where it was going. They just showed one, maybe a couple pictures, because you and OG were there. And it's funny to me, they announced where the location of that land was going the day after everyone left, and the execs went back to Burbank and all that, and not in front of everybody. And it's like the same thing with this. You had a presentation at Destination D23, and you couldn't even show us concept art of what that castle would look like. You now pushed it to an episode series on YouTube, and now we all have to wait, what is it, 8 days from now to see what that might look like.
Okay, now I'm not saying that they're going to do this, folks. So please do not get in an uproar. I'm not saying they're going to do this, but I'm just saying it for the sake of that conductor. You had mentioned that when they made an announcement of something, but they waited till after the fact, that there was not like tens of thousands of people in one room that are diehard Disney fans.
Yeah.
And all they mention is a paint job for Cinderella Castle. As you can see in front of us now, they showcased Hong Kong Disney's castle because it actually was a replica of Sleeping Beauty Castle out here at Disneyland, and they gave it its own castle. And if you look at all the castles around the world, they're all big, they're all grand. Now, again, I am not saying they're going to do this, folks. So, but to what your statement was of like waiting, why would they wait 8 days before making? Do you think that there's a possibility there could potentially be a change even to Disneyland's castle?
Okay, so I personally, for me, this is my own idea of this. I would personally like to see something change with our castle, like another tower or something added. I don't think it would be that horrendous.
So do you think, like the diehard Disney fans, do you think they would be okay with a more bigger, grander castle? Or do you think people would want it to stay, even though it's small, but it was the castle that Walt built, so to speak?
Okay, so this is how I would do it. I would like to see an addition to it, but I would like what Walt built to be left alone and just added a second story or something to that. That's all I'm saying. And I'm you know, when I'm talking about adding like a second story or addition, I'm talking about its own, its own thing, not something where you see from like we just saw with what was it, Hong Kong Disney, where they add the big. I'm not talking go that big. I'm not even close to talking about that. I'm talking about maybe just adding another level, and I don't think that would be such a horrible thing. I could see why the hardcore Disney fans would hate that, maybe, but I don't think adding additions to our castle would be such a bad thing. But if they want to sit there and add like a skyscraper, then I have a problem with it. But if they want to add like another story to it, another, I'm okay with that. As long as it doesn't go bigger than that, I'm fine.
Okay.
I see it.
So far, people in the chat. So, Mr. Tech Bear, Disneyland's castle will not change. It's non-touchable. And Mademoiselle says yes, untouchable. And Abby says no, I don't think they will change our castle. It's iconic to Walt. Mademoiselle continues, no changes to our castle.
I get it. I believe me. Again, this is all just ideas.
Yeah,
that I'm thinking of, but my whole thing is too, you have to remember something. As much as, and I'm right there with everybody in the chat, as much as Walt touched and he had involvement with, eventually those things are going to change. Maybe not now, maybe not in a year or two. Eventually they are going to change, and we have to, unfortunately, learn to adapt to that. Now, the only justification to that comment is, again, Magic Kingdom with Rivers of America, that should have never been touched. They had enough room to build Piston Peak and Villains Land on the top part of where Tom Sawyer's Island and the rivers were. They kind of left that alone and had the best of all three worlds. Had Tom Sawyer's Island, the Liberty Bell's still going. They could have had Villains Land and Piston Peak all on the same cake. And why they decided to do that, a lot of people are saying, well, it's infrastructure issues, it's maintenance costs, and I get maintenance costs. But if you're going to keep something like that and people enjoy it, who cares? You guys are a Fortune 500 company. You're going to tell me that you can't afford to sit there and make repairs and keep that river going? I don't think so. So that's the only justification I have to that. But like I said, we're seeing it at Disneyland too. Eventually there are multiple buildings, like for example in Tomorrowland, where Walt had involvement of touching and building with his own hands, and we're probably going to see a lot of that ripped out. So again, not everything can stay a museum forever, as much as we would love it to. And believe me, I'm right there with you. But things change.
Yeah. I hear you. I think if hypothetically, if they were to do something with Sleeping Beauty Castle, I think it would be like way down like the
Mhm.
pipeline, like because we're speaking in today's time. We don't know
Yeah.
in 50 years from now what Disneyland is going to look like. It could look completely different, you know. It's very hard to say, but we just have to keep an open mind that if they do decide to make changes, to also remember too that Walt did not want a stagnant wax museum. You
No.
know, he always had one foot in the past, one foot in the future. So we'll just have to definitely wait and see. And now also here too. Now this is on um, the Imagineering. So new Imagineer Zach Ridley is officially working on Disneyland Abu Dhabi. Ridley will be featured in We Call It Imagineering episode 5 on Walt Disney Imagineering's YouTube channel. Okay, so basically Disney just confirmed with that post that they are going to mention something with Abu Dhabi in episode 5. But again, if they're going to make an announcement like that on the YouTube, why couldn't they do that at Destination D?
That's what I mean. And again, that's something that they should have done. But you know, with this new episode coming out on their YouTube channel, again, I would like to see some type of a model, or at least a couple models of what they think their castle would look like. And I think personally, they've had enough time to at least make a model, a miniature model of what ideas they're coming up with, instead of, you know, instead of talking to the Imagineer that's in charge of it and just, you know, spitballing blue sky ideas. If I wanted to hear that, I'll just watch the D23 from 2022. I don't need to hear blue sky. I want to see concrete evidence that you guys aren't just, you know, talking imagination out of your head. I want to see concrete evidence. And that's why I love D23, because when you guys got there, I was watching social media like crazy. And when all you guys, Drew the Disney Dude, George Yu, Orange Grove, all these other content creators that were there, and you guys were showing pictures of the ride vehicles for Avengers, the Avengers e-ticket. You're showing the miniature model of Pandora that's going into now the Hollywood backlot. You guys showed or there were other models of other things. That's the type of stuff I like to see. I think we're way past the point now of, oh, this is a blue sky idea. This is something we're looking at, we're exploring. I think they've had enough time from the last E23 to now to at least have a couple models of what this thing possibly could look like. And again, it's not the final design. I'm not saying it is, but at least a couple models, different models of what this thing can look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I did want to move back a little bit to the villains
Sure.
because there was one thing that was mentioned, and this is complimentaries to Rob Whiteside. Corella, Loki, and Dr. Facilier will all play roles on Disney's latest ship, the Disney Destiny. And I'm just going to show some pieces of the concept art. So here is, if you can see my cursor, there's Loki up at the top of the balcony in the center of the main sector of the ship. I guess he does like maybe like a little kind of show kind of thing there. And then here is the Corella lounge, where I guess that you guests can come up with helping write a song for Corella, like with the piano, like with the person playing the piano.
Sure.
And this one, the one that was the most shocking to me, is that Dr. Facilier is going to make an appearance where he's going to do like magician card tricks and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's really awesome that they're doing that, quite frankly, and that they're adding newer characters onto the cruise ships. I really do enjoy that, because that's what I've never been on a Disney cruise. I've been on a couple other cruises like Royal Caribbean and all that, and I know a lot of times when the ship is going from port to port and it's in transit, is, you know, the entertainment is the utmost important when it comes to that. So I'm glad they're adding that in. And I love Kiki and Luca's comment. I'm allergic.
Yeah, and really honestly, if you really think of it,
I
it
love
really
that.
is kind of true because anytime when like we had like the Blue Sky Cellar out in DCA, it was
Yes.
intriguing. We were curious about what blue sky meant. I feel like Disney kind of abused its own power when they used the term blue sky. And now when people hear the term blue sky, see, I loved hearing the term blue sky. I was like, uh-oh, we're going to get something big. We're going to get something cool. Then when they did this kind of like what if kind of thing with the blue sky, now anytime someone says blue sky, we're going to be like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
like, does that mean is it in concrete? Is it like greenlit, or is this just a maybe, shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if kind of?
Or a shelved project. And
Yeah,
and that's something also. If again, if they're not planning on doing anything with Tomorrowland in the next, and I'm just gonna spitball here, but 5 years, they need to open one of those areas up in one of those abandoned buildings and reimagine. And I'm sorry, Kiki and Luca, the Blue Sky Cellar, so we can go in and see the projects that are coming to the resort. Okay, pie in the sky. Okay, I will call it pie in the sky just for you. Okay, they need to reimagine the pie in the sky where we can walk in and see models of future lands coming to the resort. I think that needs to happen because they have plenty of vacant buildings to do that in.
absolutely. And Dragon Blood says, but D23 2022 was far too much abuse of it. Absolutely.
Oh
I completely agree. And honestly, I even agree with this. Just like Drew, I like blue sky sessions because you can get a closer feel to how processing and etc. works at WDI. So here's the thing, I do like that. I feel like they need a separate presentation for that. Give us WDI blue sky ideas only. And
yeah,
then you, and at the start of the presentation, you come out right out the back and you say, this is things that could happen.
yeah,
Because that way everyone knows, okay, that's just what this presentation is. It's kind of like a research, kind of like assessing what the guests want and everything. I like that.
yeah.
But then you have a separate presentation where it's like, okay, this is what's concrete. This is what got the green light. We're doing this for sure. See, I think if they separate the two, I'm okay with that.
Same here. And they could possibly, you know, especially for D23, the ultimate fan event in Anaheim, they have banquet halls, don't they, George, inside the convention center where they could possibly hold that, because I can't imagine that filling up like crazy, like at a Honda Center, because how many people, like you said, Blue Sky, sorry to say it again, Kiki and Luca, but Blue Sky is a abused name. So it's left so many negative, you know, thoughts about it in people's mind. So they could possibly host that panel at one of the ballrooms at the convention center, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the Honda Center. And whatever they want to title it as, it has to say the word blue sky in it. That way it's there in black and white, so no one can get misinformed what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Now, Vegas Disney RTV, welcome in, by the way, says, what about leave the OG Disneyland castle and build a second castle in Disneyland Forward? Now, that wouldn't be too far fetched and I think a lot of people are saying, well, if it's a castle park, you have to have just the signature castle. But here's the thing. Tokyo Disney didn't do that. They built the Beast Castle. Now, it may not be as high or as towering as the central focus of the castle in the hub, but they did build a second castle. So, I mean, I would be okay with that.
George, is there any way you could pull up that picture so we could see what that looks like? See if you can find that real quick. One thing, to add to that Vegas Disney RTV is, one of the things that OG loves talking about, and this is what replaced it, being Disney California Adventure, was we were supposed to get a Westcott. And I know OG, I see him in the chat there. I know he's getting excited and his little shoes over there with his hair spiking up. But Westcott, if they plan on, and I'm saying if they plan on building a third park, they can revisit the Westcott idea, and instead of having Spaceship Earth and that thing, we can have that big giant spear. I would not be opposed to that. And that can be our version of a second castle, even though you can't really call it a castle, but it would be something, I guess.
And you know what, Dragon Blood, OG's been begging me for years to like manifest the Westcott, and I'm like, I'm trying my best, like I'm really trying to hone in on them, but for some reason they're just not nipping. They are not biting.
I know, and it's sad. It's sad because I want a Westcott. You kidding me? Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Beast Castle, for where they hold the Enchanted Tales, the Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast. And I have to say, aside from the castle, but behind it, the show building is massive.
Oh,
it is a massive show building.
I bet. So, okay, let me ask you this, because one of the things that we've seen time and time again, George, is with the Fantasyland Theater. If they built something like this, and you're talking about a massive show building like you're talking about, do you think it could fit in that area, or you think it's too small?
I thought there could be, but actually, speaking with a mutual friend of ours, they told me to bring it up on Google Maps and bring the show building up for Enchanted Tale, and it's nowhere near that can fit the show building. It's too gigantic.
That sucks. I'm just trying to read it.
Now, if they got rid of the subs and Autopia, and they extended that in the motorboat cruise area, and they extended that into more Fantasyland than Tomorrowland, that might fit in.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this right now. This is something, because it's been rumored for years. And again, Bricky kind of, I felt like Bricky kind of broke that news about us getting the World of Arendelle. And if you look at the World of Arendelle, which is Frozen, they have their kind of castle-looking building that kind of looks like our Disneyland castle, kind of looks like that. And if they do decide to build that, let's say they don't build it where the lagoon is and where the spaghetti bowl, like OG likes to call it, of track between three attractions, one of them being non-existent anymore, and they build it in the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, I could see that being our second Disney castle, and that being a way bigger version. Not Magic Kingdom size, but bigger than the Disneyland castle for sure.
Yeah. Now I know OG has some very strong thoughts on that. Because I know he's in the chat. He'll probably put it in there, but just kind of speaking for him, that his issue with putting Arendelle over in the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, even though it would fit like a glove, his issue is that it feels like it's built and fit for Fantasyland. Sure. So it feels like you're dividing both sets, where it's like he would rather it be like have it as an Arendelle World of Frozen land, but sure, have it adjacent to Fantasyland, not in its own secluded spot. But to your point, if they were to do that, you can have like that kind of version of the castle as well. And then also Shane Narani here reminded us that, you know, there will be another kind of castle in the Magic Kingdom when villains will be built.
Definitely. And you know, to kind of add to that, if they did build it where the lagoon area is, where Autopia sits, you know, where the other two tracks are, the people mover track and the monorail, you know, because it's actually, now that I think of it, it's a better location because you got the Matterhorn right there, which is brilliant. You could still have a pretty massive castle. I mean, a massive castle, because the Matterhorn kind of hides it, or would hide it, depending on how they put the castle for Arendelle. But I could see that being our second castle, even though it would be so close to Walt Castle. But that could be our second castle, and it could be a lot bigger. So that's
Yeah.
the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it is true because I mean, a lot of times, you know, and I feel like that's where um, Disney dropped the ball with the Be Our Guest restaurant in Magic Kingdom. I think they feared that the Beast Castle was going to be towering over Cinderella Castle, and they didn't want that. So, but it kind of like diluted it down where it looks very puny. You know, like they were trying to do that forced perspective where it's supposed to be like you see the castle in the distance, but it looks like the Beast Castle just got like Ant-Man, you know, where it's like it got shrunken down to the size of an ant, and it just doesn't look right. But again, Tokyo proved it, where it's like, hey, you can have more than one castle. You can have the main center castle of the park, but I mean, you could still have a castle in the form of an attraction that would represent something else in another land.
Yeah. So when you know, when everyone says in the chat they don't want Walt's castle touched, I'm 100% agreeing with you guys, but eventually something will have to be done. And again, I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but it will be touched eventually, as it'll be unavoidable. Something will change. Like George said, we don't know what will happen 50 years from now. We don't know what will happen 10, 20, 30 years from now. So it's a possibility. And the fact that they were able and willing to destroy, you know, again, Rivers of America and Magic Kingdom tells you that they're more concerned about revenue and whatever else than they are about nostalgic. So I'm just letting everyone know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, there really wasn't too much more that was announced for day two. I thought this one was going to outdo day one, and day one they came out with a banger where they dropped all studio stuff, they dropped some park stuff, and it's like I thought that day two was like, I'm like, oh well, this is going to be day one. What do they have planned for us for day two? Well, it's absolutely nothing. That's what it is, and it's very frustrating. So I mean, we basically covered really all the main focal points of day two. So conductor, unless you have something else that you want to talk about as far as like the day two stuff, honestly, I thought we had a very good discussion going yesterday talking about the big coup de grace that like now everybody, the fact that Destination D23 is over, however people feel about it, we got some news, we got not some news, but now everybody now is going to be focused on D23, the ultimate fan event.
And again, that's something, you know, we could go into more clarification about it if you want, George, because I know a good friend of ours would like to join us on this live stream, so we could talk about that, or we could talk about we could actually do a review video of Bricky's latest video or anything like that, and just talk infrastructure, because I think you know, people, like you said, we had a lot of questions. We got to a lot of questions, but maybe not all the questions for D23, like concerns comments, strategy. So if you want to dive into that, I'm all for it. Obviously, I know you, myself, and OG want to do a separate video from that, but it's up to you.
Oh yeah, I think honestly we can continue the conversation, and even though we have it again here, we can definitely bring it up on other platforms. We still have to bring it up on OG55 and everything, because honestly, this is now the point of no return. Once they make the announcement for D23 Ultimate Fan Event, it's like it's all tunnel vision from here. But Johnny Ace, like, yeah, that would be my luck. D23 tickets are going to go on sale. Well, I'm in Cabo, and there's no service whatsoever. That would be my luck too. That really would be.
Oh, I know. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
Go figure.
But what's funny is now I'm not keeping all these obviously, but I actually ended up booking 4 hotel rooms at 4 different locations around Harbor and Catella. And the reason why I did that is because they're all differently priced.
Yeah.
But I booked them and I didn't pay for them, but I just have them on hold because I kind of want to see what would work to my benefit as far as like distant goes, amenity wise, like what would be. Now, again, I'm planning all this and I don't even know if I'm going to end up with tickets, so it's like.
I know. And that's the scary part for me, is just hearing what happened last year and then the years prior for D23. Marjorie says 4 hotels and she sends the emojis. That's hey, like we talked about yesterday for part 1 of Destination D23, and especially with D23 in general, you can never be too careful at this point. It's better to over prepare than under prepare.
Absolutely. Now, Dragon Blood actually says something. I feel like because how small Destination D23 was, tells me D23 2026 will be bigger, like always, compared to Destination D23. I know I'll have a blast. Now, here's the thing with that. The fact that they may be getting some criticism with Destination D23 and of how big that they had with everything, of how the backlash was from the past D23, I can definitely see that they could be holding back because they have to have more announced. Because again, once Disney makes that moment where it's like, oh, we got banger after banger, announcement after announcement, they can't move backwards. And this is why, honestly, I think moving forward, and maybe Disney just kind of beta tested this, I think honestly this should be the last Destination D23, to be honest.
I think so, personally. If they want to continue Destination D23, like I said, there was some ideas I threw out earlier. Again, they need to reformat what Destination D23 is. I kind of feel like, the domestic parks should be left to D23 personally, and I think the international parks should be left for Destination D23. So that way it gives people the opportunity to go to D23 in Anaheim, hear about Walt Disney World, and hear about the Disneyland Resort. And if you want to hear about the international parks, you go to Florida and you go to Destination D23, because Destination, in my mind, and again, I might be spitballing here, but it kind of screams to me international. When you say destination, that's what it refers to me as. So that's the way I look at it. Because to sit there and, talk about some movies that are coming out, maybe a couple shows, and, we'll sprinkle in like something to do with the parks, and that's about it. I don't know. Like Jason said, paying $550 maybe for the first day.
And that's for one person.
Yeah.
Like literally, if me and Abby were going, that would have been $1,100.
That's insane.
Not counting flights, not counting hotel.
Food.
I
I
mean,
can't imagine.
so Vegas Disney RTV says the D23 event is giving me anxiety for Coco and Infinity Defense opening dates. I hate virtual queues and I would rather wait in line for hours to guarantee I get on. I think a lot of people do, Vegas. I think honestly, virtual queues, I'm just like kind of over it.
Oh, huh. It's funny you mentioned that Vegas Disney because we were going through the same nonsense, and George can tell you we ran into the damn virtual queue system for the Walt animatronic. George, you want to enlighten everyone what happened with that?
Yeah, so it was funny. Well, first off, Disney's like way of like timing things was kind of like because they were letting people in for the 70th, and it was the same time to go through when we had to be online to get the virtual queue. It's like, okay, well, you need your phone for everything. So how are we supposed to scan and also try to get a virtual queue at the same time? So literally, we were waiting in line and we just kind of like we all were on me, Abby, you, Mademoiselle. We were all on our phones, and it was funny that Abby was like trying to like hold back to try to get through, but we wanted it so like, and it was time. It was what was it, 7 a.m. and we all pressed the button, and nothing went through, and it all kind of says like not this time, yada yada yada. But here's the thing: once we got through and Abby refreshed the app and brought it back up, we actually did get the virtual queue. Had she not refreshed it, we would have never known we got the virtual queue.
Exactly, and that's something that kind of scares me because again, we were all in the park. We just scanned in, and within not even a quarter of a second, gone for what was it, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. for the first showing. Yeah. And that scares me when you're on location and they can't figure out the system properly. That's what scares me. That's why I said last night with the D23 tickets, why does it always, or why does it only need to be online? If people want to go wake up at midnight 1 a.m and go wait outside the convention center to buy tickets and get their credentials for D23, why will they not allow that? Give people a better chance to get these tickets, because why just keep it all online, allow scalpers to sit there and buy 50 tickets, and hopefully, like George says, Disney does crack down on that, because I really hope they do, and get away with it. I'd rather, be one of those guys like, I think it was Dragon Blood was saying, I'd rather have no virtual queue for a ride and wait 2 hours in the line and guaranteed a spot, just like with D23 tickets. I'd rather wait in a line for 5 hours outside the convention center and guarantee to get a ticket and my credentials.
I agree. I would do the same.
Yeah.
Honestly. Giant Peter Adventures. No, the hotel rooms are not for George's family and PA coming to D23. Yeah, I do have a big Italian family, but yeah, no, it's this is all strategy, and as I said, hopefully this will all be worth it in the end for these tickets. But I do agree with you. Like, I would rather get up before the birds and stand out by the box office, and that way I could take my time. I could look at the map and say, you know what, I want this section, I want these seats. It was such an easier time in the 90s to get like tickets for stuff like that, and like now everything is digital, and it's like it helps and works in one way, but then it's detrimental in another way. Yeah, it's a box office. Yeah.
Hey. So OG's mocking you. So is it my time to say walking path instead of crosswalk or sidewalk?
Yep, go for it. that's my. I need a shirt for that. Like go on the
do.
like.
We're gonna make you one. Somehow
But
we're gonna make you one.
but yeah, like hopefully like all this won't be in vain just to the fact of trying to get tickets. But I will strongly suggest to anyone who wants to get tickets, don't just rely on one device.
No.
Um, Definitely have multiple devices going off and have everything going into the virtual queue. Whatever device has the lowest amount of weight, that's the device you then focus on,
Yeah.
because
100%.
chances are the other devices are not going to get passed through the virtual queue weight than the one device that has the lowest number.
And the way I'm gonna plan it, because I'm gonna do three options. Obviously, you can see me on the live stream. This is my desktop, but I'm gonna have my desktop going, my laptop going, my phone going. So I'm going to have three devices going. And like
Yeah.
George says, whatever is the lowest, but I might even push it farther than that. I might just say I'll have all three going, and whatever device goes through, that's the one I go through with, and the hell with the other two. That way, it gives me three chances to get
Mhm.
in. That's that. See, that's how ridiculous this whole thing has become now. People have to be on multiple devices at once. People have to miss work just to guarantee an well, not guarantee, but even have a slim chance in hell of getting the ticket. That's how ridiculous this is.
Well, and the other thing is too that, and again, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I don't want to cause people stress and everything, but I'm just saying it like it is because this was the facts.
Sure.
A good friend of mine, everyone may know her, Mindy, or known as Sweet Miss Magical Mindy on social media platforms. She wanted to attend last year's D23, and she was going to do it along with me. And she had 21 devices
Holy.
between her husband, her two kids. 21 devices plus my 10. That's 31 devices,
That's
and not
ridiculous.
one device got through.
Wow. And she was up at what time?
Well, this was, now to be fair, this was the day after the first day.
Okay.
So there were like seats available, but they were very scarce.
Oh,
But
geez.
it's just to the fact of having 31 devices and not one of us could have got through.
That see, that's what I mean. That's ridiculous. There's too much demand, not enough supply. And that's the problem. And that's something I brought up yesterday as well on your live stream for part one, is that you and OG were front and center at the Honda Center, and you were telling me last night that there was room for them to move the stage back, possibly even make it smaller to allow more seats in the Honda Center, and they didn't do that. Or my suggestion is, why did they not just move it to Angel Stadium, have the main stage in the outfield in the center, probably have maybe 1,000, 2,000 seats on the ground, and then everyone else in the stands? Why in the hell they couldn't do that? I don't know. Maybe because it's an outdoor venue. Maybe they couldn't secure it. I don't
It's
know.
possible. It could also be too. I don't know if like because of the distance, just between like with the Anaheim Convention Center and the Angel Stadium. But I will say they do utilize the Angel Stadium for D23, and they do it with during a game the week before the actual event. So they are in cahoots with Angel Stadium. I don't know why they wouldn't, because that would be, I think, anyways, like the best solution. Because basically, the whole entire field can be the stage,
Yeah.
and you have four separate jumbotron screens that anyone can look at any given time, depending on the position of where you're sitting. And that stadium is massive.
It's humongous. And they could easily pull it off, because I've seen concerts there that exactly what George is talking about, that same concept. And you're talking, and I think the band that went out there was it was U2, and there's a massive fan base for U2, and then I think even Oh my God. Imagine Dragons was out there. So if they can hold concerts like that and have a built stage on the outfield, they can easily
Oh
move
well,
the 23 event.
well, Abby and I did attend like somewhat of a concert. It was for Harvest. It was for like our like not actually our church, but it's like a church community kind of thing, but it's public.
Definitely.
And if they can do it, Disney can definitely come
Oh,
up with a big kind of presentation and that kind of stuff. Brian, welcome in. Are you going to D23 next year? Any plans for the new ships next year, like Destiny or Adventure? Good questions. Starting off with Disney Cruise Line, we're not doing the new ships yet. I haven't done the Treasure yet. I'm still waiting to do that. Still waiting to do the Destiny and obviously Adventure. But next year, Abby and I are planning possibly a family cruise because all our kids have a special milestone going off almost at the exact same time. Abby's daughter's graduating medical school. Her son is turning 21, and my son is turning sweet 16. So we're going to try to get everybody together to do a cruise next summer. As far as D23, hopefully, fingers crossed, I would like to go to D23. If you asked me that same question, Brian, last year, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm going for sure. Definitely. After the fact of what I went through with that ticketing system, I'm going to say I'm going to try. I really want to, but we shall see.
oh yeah. 100%.
But Mademoiselle says Ticketmaster doesn't allow more than one device in a queue for concert tickets. I wonder if that is the same for D23. Well, now I don't know if they would change it, Mademoiselle, because I know last year they actually allowed all our devices because each of our device had a different number in the wait queue. And once we saw which one we were going to aim for, we just shut the rest of them down and just focused on the one that had the lowest number. So I guess that did open up more space for people to get in.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, it's definitely crazy. Yeah, Westcott. Yeah, see.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. No, but that's my plan. So obviously I'm, when they do announce the date, I'm going to make sure I'm off that day, and if I'm not off that day, I'm calling out. And I'm going to have 3 devices go on my phone and 2 computers, and believe me, I'm going to be ready because it's going to be hell on earth. I think I'm going to treat myself to probably a Bang energy drink or a Monster or some, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
And then I did say last night, if me, OG, and George get D23 tickets, I said on one of their lives, all 3 of us will have to take a shot of Jack or something.
Yeah, we'll take a shot of something, definitely. Especially, I'm going to need it to calm my nerves afterwards, because it's going to be a crazy day. And I'm telling you right now, we did discuss this yesterday, but it begs repeating. If any of you, once we find out the date that the tickets go on sale, if you're working that day, don't be. Because you don't want to be working. And also, too, make sure you are a D23 Gold member. Because if you are a D23 Gold member, that puts you not ahead of the line, but you will get it to try to get it for first day. If you try for regular guest, I don't know how much you're going to be, because by the time Sunday, more so they're going to drop it on a Friday. They'll drop the ticket sales on a Friday, and it'll run through to Saturday and Sunday. By the time Sunday comes for general tickets, there's going to be nothing left. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just have to mention this. I couldn't believe when he texted me, I'm at Vaughn's. Okay, so here's the thing with that. I've never heard of Vaughn's before. That, like, my birthday was the first time I heard of Vaughn's. Now, here's the thing. Thinking of how chic and upscale California can be, I would think it would be titled Vaughn's, like the person's name. I never would have guessed it would have been VONS. Like
Okay.
I thought, like what in the world is that? Like I thought it was like Vaughn, like Vince Vaughn or Bruce Vaughn. Like I thought it was like Vaughn's. Like I didn't know like what VONS was, but but I think it's so funny that you, Abby, and Mademoiselle, and uh, kudos to Mademoiselle for coming up with it. The three of you took a selfie in front of Vaughn's,
Do, do,
and
do you have a picture? Did she
um,
say?
she sent me the picture, but I don't have it upload on.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me see. Well, here's the thing. Maybe if I just bring it up,
Yeah.
uh, I can
Maybe,
hold it up to the
maybe
screen.
send it in the group chat that you have between me and you on X, and we just bring it up on that. Probably do that, guys. I kid you not. Okay, so while he's trying to figure that out, I kid you not. We were literally we probably took about, I don't know, 10, 15 steps out of Vaughn's, and I kid you not how fast, Mademoiselle was with her phone to create that picture. It was like lightning speed. I'm like, are you sure you're real? Are you sure you're not like an AI robot or something? Because that was real quick. And she's like, I'm lightning fast with doing stuff like that. I'm like, clearly, I wish I can have your smarts. And oh my gosh, she posted a little smile emoji. That's funny. Yeah, because you're lightning fast with that. That's insane. That was I'm still cracking up about that. That was hilarious, actually.
What I have to do, I can't find it at the moment, but like the next
Okay.
time I'll have it like ready and
Oh yeah,
everything.
definitely.
But yeah, but definitely it was funny as heck. So
Oh
we
yeah.
got Yawn Smokes in the house. I can't believe they didn't even give updates before opening. Wait, updates opening before the next D23, like the Muppets RRC and the Mando and Grogu mission. Yeah, that is okay. So again, they did give us a little bit of Muppets, but it wasn't at Destination D23. It actually was the week prior. So again, why couldn't they have dropped all that news at Destination D? If they were going to give us a lackluster event, they could have dropped the Big Thunder stuff. They
Yeah.
could have dropped the Buzz Lightyear stuff. They could have dropped the Muppet stuff. Like why didn't they, or even yeah, even the Mando and Grogu stuff when they mentioned about like uh the uh the engineers picking the location.
Oh sure. And see, that's something that's a missed opportunity, I think, because what was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday we were talking about, how they announced the Mando movie and the timeline for that on day one. Why could they not have said, okay, well, adjacent to that happening, we have new missions coming to our Millennium Falcon attractions at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, both at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So look for future updates on that. Why couldn't they say something like that? It would have been the perfect opportunity. They didn't have to go into detail. All they had to say, we're bringing new missions. This is what we're looking at. This is the time frame, and it would have been perfect. Again, it's a missed opportunity. And like George said, they were posting stuff a week prior to destination. And, to kind of quote D23, I was kind of a little scared too. Because, like, for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, they were nonstop posting stuff. I'm like, oh, God, is D23 going to be lackluster? And come to find out, it was so exciting. I almost cried. It was amazing. But the fact that they were posting updates a week and a half before D23, and then like George said, they were posting updates a week prior to destination, it clearly shows, you know, what they like to do. And again, like George said, I wouldn't have rather them not said anything and just kept all that for Destination D23 and left that maybe for the second day. Because obviously the first day, like me and George talked about, there was a lot of content to talk about.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, there really was like literally 3.5 hours. Like we covered like everything that first day, and it just goes to show how much lackluster day two was because we pretty much covered day two. I mean, there really wasn't, aside from them doing like the 80s and 90s dance party at the very end and maybe like some small stuff here or there, but
Sure.
other than like the small little villain stuff and Disney Cruise Line and the repainting of the castle, I mean, there really wasn't anything else there, but they could have had stuff if they would have just kept all the news and just saved it for Destination D23. But it's Florentin says, if I hear a tremble, it's not the rapture, it's the Italian-esque fiasco. Yes, definitely. The day tickets go on sale, God forbid, if it doesn't go to my way, if you guys feel something, if you feel a disturbance in the force, again, it's not the rapture, it's not an earthquake, it's not a tsunami, it's the wrath of the Italiano.
It's pretty damn close. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn close. And I said last night, I said, if that happens and George can't get a ticket, none of us can get a ticket. God willing, that's not the case. Josh tomorrow better not peek his head in at Disneyland, because George will hunt him down like a bloodhound trying to find a scent. Believe me, he'll be on it.
Yeah. And OG says Mindy and I had to talk George Don when we couldn't get tickets last year. Yeah, I was like, it is really really bad, because as I said, normally I'm calm as a cucumber with everything else. I don't have anxiety, I don't have fear, I don't have PTSD. When it comes to D23, it's all of that wrapped in a nice little panic attack package, because it's like that's what it gives me every single time. But yeah, I really should do that, Mademoiselle. Like that day, I should just like schedule like a body massage, like just to like work out the kinks of like my neck and my shoulders, and like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be so tense. Oh yeah, so George is sending the mafia to Iger's office.
Oh God, don't start that hysteria.
Oh my lord. I will say though, like if I had the opportunity to chase Demaro down Main Street again, I would be like, hey, do you have like a spare ticket anywhere? Like I'll sit on the floor, like I don't give a shit. No. Like I don't even need a chair. Like I'll sit on the floor. I'll bring like one of those donut pillows for my butt, and I'll just sit on the floor and just.
There you go. Perfect. Oh my gosh. One of your followers, I can't say his name, but you'll get to it. What did Giant Peter say?
He said, hey, but if you guys did get tickets, no D23 girl for OG, but OG says, if I run into D23 girl next year, it's meant to be probably wifey. I guarantee you, if he runs into her again, out of all the people, I'm taking him over, because I tell you what, the fact that he actually bumped into her again at Avengers Campus 1 week later, she was still there, and I swear, if she was there for the next one, yeah, that is definitely meant to be, because literally all this news is like we're all like captivated on tomorrow with all the news. And like we're all facing front, but there's OG with his head turned, captivating on D23 girl. It's like
really? Oh,
yeah, really. Like they make an announcement, and like we're all applauding and everything, and he's applauding, but he doesn't know what he's applauding to, because he's looking over this way. It's like,
oh, gee, you didn't tell me that at the taco spot a couple of weeks ago. Damn you! Oh well, secret crush over there.
That was funny.
I bet.
And then Yawn Smoke says, by the way, did you see Fantastic Four crossed over 500 million? I did see that. That's honestly, that's great. Even though that the film didn't do as high as we all expected. I mean, the fact that it crossed over $500 million at the worldwide box office. I mean, kudos to them.
Oh, 100%. And then you know what? Since that was brought up, you can keep going through the chats. I'm going to send you something, George, through the chat on X that you sent me the link for this, because I have those pictures about the people mover. Remember, I was talking about that. I found it at work today,
Okay.
so I'm going to send you that while you're answering comments. Okay. I'm going to send you one more too.
Oh, yep. I will. You could put me anywhere. Like I'll be. Yeah, I'll sit up in the rafters. I'll sit on the roof, and you could open up like the skyline thing, and I'll just peek my head in like Flick from It's Tough to Be a Bug. I'll just be hanging upside down, just like looking like. I swear, like I'll do anything to get that, because honestly, as much as it's frustrating and everything, and this is on a positive note, and I know a lot of the stuff that we talked about was kind of negative today, but
Sure.
we just report on what it is, and it is what it is. But on a positive note, I think the reason why, on top of me being a diehard Disney fan and passionate about the company, as much as it's frustrating and there's a lot of tension of trying to get tickets and what have you, going to D23 as far as the ultimate Disney fan event, it's a completely different feel, and you won't know what that feeling is until you actually experience it yourself. That it's a different feeling even than going into the parks, because there's a positive note that that even like going into the parks, like you have like the normies, you have the first timers, you have the greenhorns and what have you. When you go to D23, you are among your people. Like these are the people that share the same passion with you. It may not be, there may just be Star Wars fans, there may be Marvel fans, there may be Pixar fans, there may be studio fans, park fans, ESPN fans, but no matter what, you all share the same kind of high level love for Disney and for the company. And when you're amongst people like that, you just feel like you're among strangers, but you feel like that you're around people that you've known for years. It's like the strangest thing, but in a good way.
Oh, 100%. Like George says, we've talked about, a lot of not positive things, but again, and I even do this on my channel, I try to be as much positive as the next person. But when you're paying some serious money and you get that type of information, it's very discouraging. It's like all those people that went to D23 in 2022 and all they really heard was blue sky ideas. I'm sure people were walking out of there just so pissed off. I know good friend of the channel of both George and I and OG and so many others, Bricky did an immediate video right after, and he was just so disappointed. And we all know how passionate Bricky is. He's done projects for the Disneyland Resort, for the Walt Disney Company, and the fact that he would come out and do a video like that immediately after that D23 and be so upset, that just shows how passionate we are about this. And we want to report positive news, but like George said, we call it how we see it, whether it's negative, positive, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And Giant Peter Adventure says D23 Day is the best at Disneyland. Yeah. And it really is. Honestly, that's like the kickoff. And again, that's when I ended up chasing Tomorrow down Main Street. It was the D23 Day at Disneyland. I think he recognized me. I think he did, because he didn't like say, but he kind of gave me this look like he knew who I was, and I was sporting an Orange Grove 55 shirt on that day. And he looked at me, and then after we took the selfie, he said, "You're going to be at the parks presentation, right?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll be there." And he said, "It's going to be a good one." And so like the fact that like how he said it to me, it's like I think he definitely recognized me, or at least his PR team maybe did. But yeah, D23 day at Disneyland is the best. I will say, definitely keep that day open. So since the first day is going to be August 14th, D23 day, it's already shown on the app as it being August 13th. So make sure you get a park reservation for that day, because I'm for sure it will fill up, and you probably would want to start your day off at Disneyland for sure.
Absolutely. Is it available on the calendar yet or not yet?
I don't know. I don't think it's available on the calendar yet.
Yeah, but, I didn't think so, but yeah, do keep that day in mind for sure.
Yeah, definitely make sure, because when that drops, it's gonna go. D23 is amazing. I've only to the very first one, but I'm manifesting 2026. Yeah, I've actually since 2009 I've been to all the D23 expos. At the time they were expos, and then it turned into the Ultimate Fan event, and that's another reason why it was a bummer that I wasn't able to. That I thought that I wasn't able to go last year. So I'd be like, wow, this is going to be the first D23 that I won't be able to attend. Now all those anxieties are back again. Because here's the thing, it's so funny that when they make the announcement for the Ultimate Fan event, I'm excited, but so freaking nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
Like normally I should just be excited, and it's like, nope, it's not going to be that. It's like you're going to have all the tension in the world leading up to the fact of tickets. But as I said, I do know some things now that I learned from my mistakes last year, and I'm going to utilize those to my opportunity, to my benefit. And I'm just going to try to stay calm. I'm going to just focus and pay attention and not, do anything else. And it's like, utilize multiple devices, more so use your computer. And again, if there are different options of how you can get all 3 days with the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center, then so be it. Do what you have to do. And I'm definitely going to utilize that for sure.
Yeah. So if you want to explain to everybody, if if you want to explain by signing up as a D23 member, okay, and being a D23 member, what does Disney do different compared to the general admission that will have to go on the D23 website, obviously, and click the link? Is there a special link that Disney sends out to D23 members to get on that website, which is day one? How's that work?
So they will send out like an email, kind of like a reminder, and they may have the link that'll take you to the page, or you can just go on the website itself, like yourself. It will only be activated for people who are logged in with their account. So if you're a gold member, you log in, the link will be there. If you are not a gold member and you go on the website, it won't be there. So and they usually don't release those until Sunday, which is like the final day of the weekend just for general. And as I said, if you're general, chances are, like, I'm not saying that you wouldn't get anything, but I would definitely consider becoming a gold member for sure.
And that's again, that's something we talked about. Again, it was a lot of coverage to watch yesterday, almost 3.5 hours of coverage, and a big chunk of that we were talking about D23, and that's something again where the membership tiers should come into play with that. Again, each tier should have a certain amount of tickets available. Maybe the passes, tickets, whatever options there should be limitations, because like you said, by the time Sunday comes around, the general admission that doesn't have D23 membership, it's slim to none. And that's another thing we talked about as well with the D23 memberships. You have 4 tiers. You have a free one that comes with your magic key, which is basically complimentary. You have another one which is $49.99. You have another one which is $99.99, which George has, and then you have this newest one which is $300. And that one, the only difference from that and the $99 one is the fact that you get 4 exclusive D23 gifts instead of 1 D23
I
gift.
guarantee you, if they added more of like incentive, people
Yeah.
would buy the $300 one. Like
Yes.
if it put them like ahead of the crowd for D23 tickets, people would be buying those $300 ones, and only have it capped off. Don't just have it open for everybody.
Yeah.
Have it to where it only could be allotted to a certain amount of people, and then
Sure.
once they hit that cap number, then you can't get it. Maybe you could be put on a wait list or something, but or unless somebody drops off, that would be more enticing than to spend $300 and get 3 more gifts out of it.
And still no D23 ticket. That would suck. I'm sorry, but when you're paying $300 for a membership like that, like George says, you would think there would be more incentive. Like they would come out and say, okay, well, you would be the first group, or you would be the first group, the first, I don't know, 500 people, 1,000 people tops to buy your tickets. But you would also have a time limit, because I don't know if the website gives you a time limit. If it doesn't, I think it needs to. I think it needs to be maybe, I don't know, 10, 15-minute time limit. Once you get past the queuing part and you're in the system to buy the tickets, there should be a limitation on time. Because if they don't have that, I could feel that kind of messes up the system as well. Because people are taking their sweet time buying tickets, if they even do it at all.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because as I said, as I was putting tickets in, they were being removed out of my cart because they let so many people in at once that the system was overriding because it couldn't recognize who was clicking what. So if I was clicking specific seats in real time,
Sure.
and I'm over here in California,
Yeah.
or I'll say in PA because that's where I was.
Sure.
And somebody in Missouri clicked on those same seats and it added both of them into our cart. Well, who got it? The system can't recognize who clicked it first because they have so many people in there at once. So what does it do? It removes it out of your cart because it can't read who got it. And that's where it gets so frustrating, because it's almost like you going into a grocery store, you grabbing a cart, putting items in it, and someone just randomly walks up and starts taking the stuff out of your cart.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
See, that's again, that's something they need to fix on the infrastructure side. That's why I said, why not give the people the opportunity? If they want to be online, hey, more power to you. If you want to go sit there and wait in front of the convention center at freaking 2 a.m. in the morning, all the way up until, I don't know, 7 or 8 in the morning when they open the ticket booth, be my guest. And I'd probably be one of those, because then I would be guaranteed an opportunity to buy tickets. And that's how fierce the system is. And it's sad. It really, truly is sad that we have to, as Disney nerds, as we call ourselves as content creators, have to revert to having multiple devices, taking off a paid day of work, or stressing out, which none of this should be stressful, but unfortunately, and maybe I'm taking it out of context, the Disney company is making it stressful, and we're still a year out from the event.
Well, look right off the bat that all hotel rooms are practically non-existent, and then it took one day from the announcement.
So let's talk about that actually, because it's really interesting. Because me and George, where his hotel is, where my hotel is, we're kind of like we're going to meet in the middle. So the convention center is in the middle. We're on opposite sides, and I kid you the freak not, when the information dropped, and I was at work, George. I didn't tell you this. When the information dropped, I saw it online. I didn't get your text yet, but I saw it online. I immediately started checking hotels. I kid you the freak not. And almost every single hotel. So the first hotels to go, the convention center hotel, which is the Hilton, correct? That's the Hilton one.
DoubleTree, yeah, Hilton.
Okay, so the DoubleTree Hilton. Then you had the actual Hilton Anaheim, which is I think across the street, right behind the Incredicoaster. That sold out. Then you had the Marriott, which is directly behind the convention center in the same plaza where you can walk right to the front door. That sold out. Then all these other hotels sold out. And I kid you not, I really honestly kid you not. I would say within the first hour of that announcement, most of those hotels in that facility sold out, or they're so overpriced, it's insane.
Yeah,
It's creepy. Like
it's
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there were like maybe a handful of rooms like at the Marriott or the Hilton that would pop up once in a while. So just for a point of reference, so 4 days is what I was looking at. Okay, 4 days would probably cost me at one of those Hilton hotels or the Marriott probably about 1,600. I'm being generous. When I looked and they popped up just randomly because probably people booked them and then canceled, they were at 3,100, 3,500, almost $4,000 for 4 days for a basic room.
Mm-hmm.
That's how ridiculous that got. So, again, this is just a hotel situation. This is nothing to do with D23 yet. This is just to make sure you're in the vicinity of the convention center. That's how ridiculous this got. That's how bad this situation is. And I think Disney as a company and other companies that do this, Disney's not the only one. I'm not trying to just pick on Disney. It just so happens we're talking about Disney. I think Disney needs to reformat how they sell D23 tickets. I think they need to revert back to, if you want to be online, wonderful. If you want to go wait at the convention center at 2 a.m., go for it. At least give people multiple options, because the fact that ticket sales are worse than Oogie Boogie tickets for opening night, that just tells you how stupid this is. It's so bad.
And that's why, again, we got all our rooms booked, and then it's like, well, are we even going to be even utilizing those rooms? We may be canceling them, because it's like, because I swear to you, I guarantee you, if I don't get D23 tickets, you will not see me near Anaheim. I don't want to see a poster. I don't want to see a banner. I don't want to see a sign. I don't want to see people cosplaying. I don't want to see nothing. I want to be completely 86th from it all, because it's like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah. That means you'll see George either at Knott's Berry Farm or you'll see him at Universal. So just know that. Just FYI. Or maybe he'll go on a cruise and just get away from all of it. I'm not talking a Disney cruise. I'm talking like a Carnival or a Royal Caribbean. That's nothing to do with Disney.
That's definitely showing them for sure.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. I'm just going through the chats because now the chats are going wild now. Dragon Blood, he posted a comment right under OG's comment. He mentioned you see me in Maleficent the Dragon Disney bound. That's more likely me.
Oh yeah, I think Dragon Blood is going to have he's going to be cosplaying that if he gets into
Okay.
D23. And that's the cool thing too with D23 is like you can cosplay, you could dress up as anything you want till the cows come home. And it's like and people really go all out. And some of their costumes are um quite genius in a way. There was actually somebody who actually made it onto the promo video that their costume was the Maleficent dragon, and it was the version of the one in the parade, and they had it smoking.
What?
Yeah, because of how like of how like that dragon, and they do like the cosplay, like they call it the Masquerade.
Uh,
Test that people like really like they go all out for it.
did you see? Oh my God. Okay, so if you're gonna do the Italiano, I'm doing the OG 55, uh, cosplay. I'll grow my hair out and spike it up, and
Fine, if we're gonna all do that, then we're just gonna be each other. I'll be you, but I need to buy those like 12-inch elevator shoes just
yeah.
to just to kind of reach eye to eye to you.
Oh my God. Oh, OG's daring me to do it. Okay, okay. I'll get some really nice banger. That really nice bun black shirt that I had you in multiple pictures when I did that reel for your 7,000 subscriber, and congratulations on that as well on YouTube. Shout out to OG for that. But I'll wear that black long sleeve shirt. I can't do the contacts. I don't do contacts very well, so I'll get glasses just like yours. I'll have the spiky hair, and believe me, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
And Ronnie says, my cosplay would be getting a blue shirt and glasses and going as blue shirt guy.
Blue shirt guy. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. That's hilarious.
I actually did cosplay a little bit because when I went with Mindy in 2022, she dressed up as Mary Poppins, and I went as one of the chimney sweeps. And she had like the costume, she had the hat, she had the scarf, she had the finger through gloves and everything. And so we actually dressed up, and we ended up in LA Times magazine because because the photographer was there, and we were getting our pictures taken next to the cardboard cutouts of the penguins and stuff. And she said, "Can I take both of your picture?" Because Mindy goes all out. Like
sure.
it won't just look like a simple Halloween costume. She gets like the legit stuff. And she said, "Can I take your pictures?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because she's just like me. We're both like, we love the attention. And after she took several pictures of us, she's like, "Is it okay if I submit this into the LA Times magazine? I actually work there." And we're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
That's odd. See, that's really funny that you mentioned that, because one of my pictures from Universal Horrors Unleashed, and it was literally just a picture of that neon sign for that little pop-up, or not pop-up, but that little small restaurant. You know what I'm talking about? Off to the left.
Yeah.
So you have that red neon sign. I took a picture of that. So I would say maybe a couple days after I got back from Horrors Unleashed, they reached out to me on Instagram through the post. They're like, "We love this picture. Can we use it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, you can use it. Go for it." So you just never know who you're going to meet, or you never know who's watching. So that's awesome that you're in the LA Times. I wish I would have known that.
Oh yeah, because I have to. And Candy Camper says you got the pics from the magazine. I had them digitally because she sent over like through an email. I have to find the link that takes you to that specific magazine. And if you can do it, I'll find the photo. Mindy might still have it. I'll actually have to ask her. Send over the pictures.
Definitely. That's awesome though that you're able to do that. That is really, really cool. But going back to the hotel situation, so the fact that all sold out, I don't know, dude. It's scaring me. It's really giving me like anxiety times 100.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not liking it. Not liking it at all. I don't know what they could do to fix that problem. I don't think there is
I
anything
don't
they
think
can
really
do.
there is, because they're just going to do what they do, and it's like whoever gets tickets, it's like that's who gets tickets. If you don't, then you're SOL.
That sucks. God, because I want to do it. I want to do it so bad because
Now,
it.
now let me ask you this.
Sure.
Now, a lot of times there are tickets available just for the Anaheim Convention Center
Yeah.
once the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center stuff sells out.
Yeah.
If you couldn't get the Honda Center, but you can get tickets just for the Anaheim Convention Center, would you still get those?
Yes. Because I kind of feel like the Honda Center stuff, as much as it would be awesome to sit there and to have that ticket and to be there and get live reactions as they're announcing stuff, the fact that the main event is really at the convention center, like with all the booths, the Imagineers, other fellow content creators, you meet your fans. I, I would still buy tickets. The one thing I would say justified to that though is if you can only get tickets for that, but yet there's something you would get an email for saying sorry you couldn't get the Honda Center ticket, but here's an upcharge if you want to pay that, and we'll live stream it for you. So you kind of feel like you are at the Honda Center, but you're in your hotel room watching it. But it's only if you buy tickets for the event and you couldn't get the Honda Center. It's kind of like a peace offering.
That would be interesting.
I
That
wouldn't mind that.
Yawn Smokes, actually, this is a really good idea. They need to do it Disney Coachella.
Oh my
Have
God.
us all camp out and party to Disney music. That
Oh,
would be
yeah.
freaking trippy. I would definitely be into that.
I don't think OG would leave that. I think he would stay there forever. He'd meet too many fabulous Disney moms or
Well,
babes.
moms.
I know he will.
Or the or if Universal did a Coachella, that's the one.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. I wouldn't leave that either. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Yeah, dude. What I see at Horror Nights. Well, you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
I've seen.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You could definitely tell the difference between a Universal fan and a Disney fan.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing too, kind of going back to the ticket thing. Now, here's what I would do. I'm aiming for the 3-day with the Anaheim Convention Center and Honda Center. If I can do that, I'm going to get the Anaheim Convention Center ticket 3-day.
Yeah.
And then individual Honda Center day 1, individual Honda Center day 2, individual Honda Center day 3. Because at least then you can get in there. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to get the 3-day Anaheim Convention Center. And if I can just pick one Honda day, I would get the Parks one, which is usually day 2.
Yeah.
I can deal with not going to the studios one or the Disney Legends. If I could just get the Parks one, I'm tied with the Anaheim Convention Center. I'm cool with that. So if I can't get the Honda Center individuals,
yeah,
then I would give in to just do the 3-day Anaheim Convention Center.
So this is what I'm going to aim for, because the Disney Legends, I kind of feel like there's not too many Disney Legends out there that I kind of well known. The last D23 they had, I think they had Jamie Lee Curtis there.
Yes.
I think she was nominated and she got the award. That's something I would have loved to see, because I'm a huge fan of Jamie Lee Curtis, especially her involvement with all the Disney projects she's done, especially with Freaky Friday, the new Freakier Friday, and then the fact that she did all the Halloween movies. I'm such a fan of hers, and it pisses me off so much that me and George were not there one day earlier at the parks because she was promoting Freakier Friday and she was in Tomorrowland. I'm like, damn it. I wanted to meet her so bad.
It's weird. Like, I'm at the parks constantly, and the days that I'm not, that's when Jamie Lee Curtis is there. That's when Chad Michael Murray is there. That's when John Stamos is there. That's when Josh Gad is there. It's like, and then, but I will say, I was at the park when they were filming for the Oswald series. I got to see Catherine Hahn. I got to see Catherine Hahn. And I got to see oh man, why am I drawing a blank?
It's all good. We all do it.
Happy from Marvel.
Oh yeah, Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Wow, Jesus. I don't know why. Like I blanked on that one. I got to see Jon Favreau. Now the one that I really am upset about is that Steve Martin was there on his 80th birthday, and he got to do a couple scenes in the Oswald, and I just missed it by a day.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome to see that. That really would have been awesome. He's another one I would really like to meet for sure. But if I had to choose with tickets, this is how I would look at it. I would look at it two versions. I would definitely get the 3-day convention. And then if I had two different plans, both plans include the 3-day no matter what. One plan would be just the parks panel. The other plan would be the parks panel and the movies, the TVs, the media. The Disney Legends I can skip. But those two, especially the parks panel, that comes first. If I can't get the media, I'm fine with just having the parks panel and then 3 days at the convention center. I can live with that.
Yeah. Or even if you get the individual just parks and just studio.
Yeah.
I think Disney Legends, like I would love to do all three, but if I had to leave one go, I'd leave the Legends one go. And then if I had to leave two go, it would be the studio and Legends. But if unfortunately I couldn't do all three, I'd still do the Anaheim Convention Center.
Oh, 100%. And I think the cherry on top would be being able, especially since I'm paying $1,800 for the Inspire key, would have the opportunity to book that D23 day. That would just be cherry on top.
That's why I have 2 Magic keys. I have 12 opened reservations.
Oh my God. You're crazy.
Yeah,
you're fun crazy though.
But literally, that's everybody. When I say I have 2 Magic keys, that is literally everybody's reaction. Abby even says it. She's like, "You're crazy. You're nuts. Like you have 2 Magic keys."
God. Wow.
Although I will say though, I am going to go back down to 1.
Yeah.
Once my Believe key expires in January.
Yeah.
And then I'll just keep my Inspire.
Yeah, I'm going to renew my Inspire. It's already paid itself off almost twice now over, so I'm very happy with.
With me, my Magic Key pays it off in like 3 days because it's
I know you do because you live at Disneyland. I'm surprised they haven't made. I'm surprised they haven't made like a small apartment somewhere on Main Street for you.
I'm surprised, honestly, I don't have my name on one of the windows yet.
Like, you should.
Yeah, I should. OG got his.
I know.
He got his name on a window. Like I need my window now. Like, come on. Like,
OG, really? I know Disneyland was built in the orange groves, but good Lord, before George, what special access you got? You tell me. I want to know that.
Yeah, and his Universal Pass literally, paid for itself 92 visits ago.
92 So when you go 92 visits, OG, to Universal, are you hanging out at Moe's Bar all the time and maybe go on the Simpsons ride, maybe on the tram, hanging out with Wizard?
Well, what's funny was we actually did a few of the bar chats on Citrico Central at Moe's Tavern.
I saw that. Though, okay, so this is something I really like, to go off topic, but this is something I really love about your channel. doing the bar chats, which is amazing on location, and the mere fact that you do the walk and talks in the park and just point out stuff as you see it in the park is amazing. I love that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because even like because it's something completely different. You know, it's something that a lot of people don't do. And actually, I want to get back into. I was actually talking to OG about it, and I do want to get back into doing walk and talks in the park. I want to get back to doing the bar chats and everything. And yeah, see, he's got it right here. We gotta bring back. We instead of we wants the redhead, we wants the bar chat.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you know what? You know what we should do? We should plan it where, because it's the holiday season, we all three of us, since we all have passes to Disney, we should do a bar chat for the Halloween season somewhere at the Disneyland Resort at one of the bars. Maybe include Webba with us if he can be off that day, or if he gets off early or whatever his schedule might be, and then do one during the Christmas time, because Tommy from Tommy Toon World, he said he is going to come out, or he's going to come back out after the Halloween season, and he's going to come back and do Festival of Holidays at DCA. He's going to do Grinchmas, Knott's Merry Farm. So we should definitely plan that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny Ace, I'm gonna answer your question because that's actually a really good question, but I have to bring this up from Yon Smokes. I like the pick what we eat videos too.
Yeah.
Yes, we will be doing more of those as well, where we have the person in front of us basically choose what we eat. We have the waiter or waitress choose what we eat, and we're going to try also something new where we're going to do a live, and whoever joins the live when we're at Disneyland, you guys get to pick what we eat.
I love that.
So yeah, we're going to try and see how that goes. And so anyway, Johnny, what you were mentioning about DVC, it's funny because I've been tossing around the ball for DVC for many years, and it does have its pros and cons. But every time that I lean more towards into getting it, I don't know, just the price and like the maintenance fees and the yearly fees. It's just I'd rather just spend on my own good time, because you have to actually go a lot. And with me being on the West Coast, that a lot of the DVC is over at Walt Disney World. And unfortunately, I don't get to Walt Disney World as often as I used to. So I feel like the DVC is kind of a waste for me right now, but you never know, in time. But right now, yeah, it's not in my cards. Let's see.
Definitely. 100%.
Let's see, where are we?
And again, it's something like George is saying, with all the fees, the maintenance fees, the yearly cost, does it justify paying the price for it? That's the real question. So
yes. And also too, OG says that he and I are recording a video tomorrow on the Destination D for Orange Grove 55, because we haven't done it yet for that channel, and OG didn't really get to express all his thoughts on that. So yeah, definitely check that out once we are finished with that, because we're going to dive into all that. And definitely OG definitely wants to dive into the movie Hexed, because there's a lot to talk about with that as well too. I think that's very interesting.
Definitely. Just trying to see what other chats we got in here.
Yeah,
it seems like it keeps going off. Let's see. Oh, something I wanted to ask, and this is something that it has nothing to do with D23, but it has something to do with Avengers Campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've talked about it until the cows come home. Do you think at some point we can see some type of announcement, maybe at D23 next year, that either they announce a show coming to the Hyperion, or they just come out and flat say, we've decided we're going to get rid of that building and we're going to put another attraction and make an extension to Avengers Campus. Because if what Bricky has shown in his past videos about how Pandora is going to be laid out, and before you enter the world of Pandora, you're going to enter that green space kind of New York, green space park before you get in, it really doesn't justify adding another attraction to Avatar. Do you think if they don't announce a show at the Hyperion, they just continue to let it sit, do you think they should expand Avengers Campus with another e-ticket attraction?
I feel like one way or the other, the Hyperion is definitely going bye-byes for sure.
Yeah.
One way or the other, it's sitting there stagnant. They have no plans to put a show back in there. It's a lot of real estate, especially if you remove that whole entire building.
Sure.
I think it just depends on how they maneuver Pandora into that land, which I still can't see it. I still can't. For the life of me, I cannot, no matter who puts it on the screen for me, whether it's Bricky, whether it's Jack from DSNY, whether it's Dave from Fresh Baked, for the life of me, I still cannot see Pandora in that land. And I will eat the crow once it's all said and done. But until then, I can't see it. So to your question, depending on how they maneuver Pandora into that land,
yeah,
the Hyperion can either go for Pandora or it could go for an extra expansion for the campus. But it depends on how they maneuver to get us actually into Pandora itself.
Yeah. If they do it the way Bricky is hinting at with that green space park, and then once you walk through that, then you enter Avatar, I honestly think that will justify Avengers Campus taking over that spot if they don't announce a show, because again, it's wasted real estate space for another attraction, because that's the biggest problem DCA has had from the very beginning is not as many attractions as Disneyland, and it'll never be as many as Disneyland. It's just not going to happen. But it's lacked attractions, and the name of the park, it needs to change. It's not relevant that much anymore. And the fact that I really honestly don't count the Spider-Man ride as an attraction. I really honestly count that as a ride that you would see like in Fantasyland, like one of the kiddie rides. I want something that's going to give me a thrill for my money, like a coaster or like a Cosmic Rewind or something like that. And that Hyperion footprint has enough room to make that happen. What character they would base it off of, I don't know. It's just what direction Disney goes with that, I'm not sure. But to let it sit there and be vacant and either be used as storage or used as like a business venue does not do justice for the everyday theme park guests, and especially people with magic keys.
Yeah.
It's like a slap in the face.
Now, Kiki and Luca says Cosmic Rewind won't fit in the Avengers Campus. The space is too huge.
Okay, but Kiki and Luca, maybe not that attraction specifically, but something on the scale of that. That's what I would like to see.
Oh, and really quick, Kiki and Luca says Cosmic Rewind is the best ride I've ever been on. It's a religious experience, and it really is a religious experience for OG, because when he went on it, he felt like he was going into the 7th layer of hell. So it definitely, I think after he got off of that, he definitely was doing some praying. But
oh my God.
But to be fair, he was fighting a head injury, so he does eventually want to try it again, like without the head injury, and see how he goes. But also, I wanted to go back to Kiki and Luca here, And this is actually interesting. Did they call Pandora an experience instead of a land because it's only one ride? What do you say about that?
So I don't know, because it almost sounded like at the time, at the very beginning stages, they called the world of Avatar and Animal Kingdom the same kind of terminology. So I don't know if that justifies, because they came out with a model at D23, and then they were showing concept art at the Honda Center. So I I think there's going to be the main attraction. I again, if they're going to have the flight of passage like a Soarin', I don't know. It's possible, but I can promise you this: they're not going to just have one attraction. There's no way in hell they're going to have one. They're going to at least have two at
So
the.
you think there is going to be two?
Yeah, I think there's going to be two. Again, I don't know what it's going to be. It could be another, Soarin', but just flight of passage. But at that point, I would care less if it wasn't there, Soarin'. At least it's a second attraction. I would care less. Now, if you're going to give me like a little freaking Ferris wheel or a carousel, then I'm going to have issues. I'd be like, okay, well, why don't I just go to Pixar Pier for that? Why am I in Avatar for that?
Yeah, well, they're gonna move the Magic Carpets of Aladdin from Florida over to here, and they're gonna reskin it to where you're riding a banshee and you just make it go up and down and around.
Okay, so on since you mentioned Banshee, the one thing I'm hoping that comes to our Pandora is the fact that you can, kind of like what we do with the Galaxy's Edge, buying the droids and customizing them. I hope they bring that experience with the Banshees over here, where you can buy them and you can customize them and all that. Because I thought that was the awesome experience. Because I literally have I have 4 droids actually. I have, well, you can't really see it because the camera's cut off, but I have R2D2, BB-8 over here. I have DJ Rex over there, and I have kind of like a Picasso droid in here that I kind of just threw together last minute, but he's kind of hiding in the closet. But if they brought the Banshees and you can customize them, kind of like what you could do with the droids at Droid Depot, I would love that, 100%.
Yeah, and honestly, if they do bring like the Banshee rookery and that kind of stuff, where you can buy your Banshee, and they may also do, I don't know, maybe they will do where you kind of like create your own miniature like Pandora little maquette kind of thing.
That would be awesome. That would okay, so since we're talking about Avatar, because Jared from Capture the Magic, he said he's gonna possibly join us. Since we're talking about Pandora, and this is something very interesting to me, if the second attraction wasn't a flight of passage attraction like they have at Animal Kingdom, and if it's not going to be a kiddie ride, and again, what I justify a kiddie ride as, like a little carousel or something that little kids go on. But if you're going to put a second attraction in that ride, and it was going to be an E-ticket or maybe even a D-ticket attraction, what type of attraction would you like to see go in there?
Well, Giant Peter Adventure said like an Avatar roller coaster would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
And then Brian said, well, let me see. Brian said, but should a second boat attraction like a Navi River Journey be updated to Way of Water or Fire and Ash? I think honestly they probably wouldn't do another boat, because I think the major E-ticket is going to be a boat ride. So I seriously doubt they would have 2 boat rides. I feel like one would be a boat ride, and I think another one might be probably something with like flying or in the air, or as Peter had mentioned, maybe some sort of roller coaster.
I would actually love that, quite frankly. And just a side note, George, he said he's going to be right with us. So if you want to send them the link on whatever you send them the link
Yep,
on.
yep, he has it.
Okay, perfect. But if I was going to put a second attraction, a roller coaster would be awesome. Do not get me wrong. A roller coaster would be amazing. Another attraction I would like to see, since Disney seems to like to go in the direction of like a rise of a resistance, a trackless dark ride. I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I think what they did down at Animal Kingdom was it's more of a technological thing that um, even though like with the Flight of Passage, it makes you feel like you're riding on a banshee,
Sure.
going out into Pandora. It's using technology now. Um, Now with the Navi River journey, it made you feel like the boat ride you were actually going through Pandora. Now, I think that with DCA's version, I think it's going to be the vice versa. I feel like the e-ticket is going to be actually traveling into Pandora itself, and then the smaller attraction, or the C or D ticket, is going to be more technological.